All right, so the Jeep Wrangler JL Series Unlimited Rubicon, this is a late 2018, but they are exactly the same through 2019 and through now with a few very minor changes. Same vehicle, coil sprung in the rear, big axles and all that. If you're interested in a high-speed driving video with this, we took this same vehicle out, slid around all over the place, went rallying with it. It was a good time. Link in the description. What we're here to do today is an actual low-speed technical off-road drive and see how this vehicle performs. Four-wheel drive, low range. That's gonna shut our stability control and everything off. This is the manual 6-speed, so you know, first gear, clutch right out, basic off-road driving stuff. You will find, like a lot of off-road kind of prepared vehicles, this will let you left foot brake. You know, again, most modern vehicles will cut the throttle if you left foot brake under normal driving conditions, but the engineers are smart enough to get rid of that in four-wheel drive low range so you can drive this thing around nicely. This particular Jeep is dead stock with the exception of the winch in the bumper up front, which is really nice insurance to have, particularly if you're off-roading solo, as so many people do. We've also replaced the stock BF Goodrich tires with this one's got Yokohama Geolanders on it. You know, as a vehicle, this really does start to make a whole lot of sense when you do go off-road with it. Whether or not you like its road manners, I don't particularly have a problem with the way that this handles on the street. It's not a sports car, it's not supposed to be, it's got a solid front axle and everything else. One of the things you'll really like about this is technically we're stuck right now. Vehicle's in first gear, low range, clutch is out, the tires are spinning, but first gear is so low that they're kind of just barely moving. I don't know if you can see the world next to me start to move, and it drives itself kind of out of it without much throttle input or really anything else from the driver. I can hear the brake pedal activating a little bit. That stability control is not all the way off. When we're sitting here spinning the tires, you can hear the ABS engaging on and off. We gotta see. When I went for low, it said everything was off. So let's go find some buttons. It says it's off. Let's back into this mud puddle here and try to get stuck again. So even now, we're stuck. You can hear the ABS engaging. That stability control is applying individual brake. So the diffs are open, which means that maybe the left front tire is going to start spinning. What this system's going to do is apply brake to that left front tire to attempt to get that open diff to send power to the other side. Which, hey, it's nice, it's working, it got us moving, but I want it all off. If I hold stability control off, will it go off? Get me in the menus. We got nothing here. What I will 100% tell you, when you do get this stuck, that traction control, stability control system is still active. Which is working. It's not a huge complaint, but when it's all off, I'd rather have it all off. If I want to lock the front diff, I'll lock the front diff. I don't really like that stability control activated. Once that computer starts pulsing brake on that spinning tire, things can happen. Not the least of which is just your brakes start getting hot. So, is what it is. Pretty good side tilt angle. Saying 17, 18 degrees. Yeah, 18 degrees is side tilt there. Gives you a little bit of kind of a pucker feeling, but you're not right on the edge of rolling over. This vehicle, I just got in it and started driving. I can see right here, I've got 39 PSI all around. 21, come on. The old see how high you can get the roll gauge to go. 22, 23, 24, 25. Come on, give me a 26. 25. And 25 degrees of roll, we'll call that good. Now's the time to probably make a confession. This isn't the first time I've been off-roading with this vehicle. I took this out yesterday and we did the same trail that I did an off-road review for a TRD Tacoma a couple weeks ago. The problem was this drove right through all of that stuff, no problem. And then I got a little cocky and the road narrowed. It turned into basically an ATV trail. And I tried to push this thing through and we ended up in a really bad situation, which we're probably rolling B-roll of now just to show you. Kind of a narrow bridge with some old rotten logs and stuff, and we were kind of close at one point to putting it down into a brook. So here we are back at Team O'Neill in a relatively safe environment. All right, so we got a nice little articulation run here. First gear, nice and easy, wheels straight. And that is the other downfall of this vehicle. With the long wheelbase in stock trim like this, that breakover angle in the middle isn't the best. Certainly the two-door, because of the shorter wheelbase, would do a lot better in that same situation. The rock sliders are pretty mean in this, but it's not my vehicle. I'm not going to just drag them around needlessly where I don't need to. All right, so up the road a piece here, let's swing into another little off-road trail and just see how it does. Again, neutral, 4 high, neutral, 4 low, electronic stability control off, it says. So one other thing I actually just noticed that it's doing is it does have like a hill start assist feature that's always active. And again, maybe there's some special cheat code to disable everything, but if there is, I haven't found it yet. Where going up a hill, if you back off, it's just in neutral, you push the clutch in, it's fine. But if you're going up a hill and for some reason you stop and brake, I'm gonna let off the brake now, then it releases and you roll back. If you do it in neutral, it doesn't. It's only if you're in gear. So if you're in gear, stop and brake, release, it's a hill start assist. But if you don't know it's there and you're driving through some technical terrain, because it works sometimes and not others, it's a little weird. Stop and you're in second, release the brake. Yeah, it works in second gear as well. Variable hill start assist feature. You know, the one thing you're going to notice and love about this, especially if you're basically at idle in low range using a little bit of brake to creep through obstacles, is the very, very low, kind of nice, slow minimum speed this vehicle has. The big problem you find with a lot of manual transmission vehicles off-road is that they don't go slowly enough. Because you can't stop and go to get over an obstacle the way you can with an automatic. You know, a lot of vehicles, some Jeeps included, the minimum speed's like 3 miles an hour, even in low range, and that's just too fast to go through here. So as a driver, you end up on the clutch, off the clutch, on the clutch, off the clutch, on the clutch, off the clutch, and then you're gonna be dead on the trail somewhere with a burnt out clutch, wondering what went wrong. Why don't you just push the button? The other thing that these Jeeps don't do that some of the competition does, if you shut the Jeep off or you happen to stall through some complex obstacles, it would be really nice to just go ahead and start this Jeep in first gear low range, but it doesn't allow you to. You have to hold the brake, push the clutch in, start the vehicle, release the brake as you let the clutch out, give it some gas. So it takes what could be a one-step solution of just, ooh, push the start button and boop, boop, start it in gear and you're gone, into a many-step solution with the risk of falling backwards into something. It's just more complex than it should be, especially when the vehicle's off. You've got no power brakes, so it would be really nice if you could start it in gear and just drive off forward. One other thing, you know, hey, if we're looking for criticisms for this vehicle, the throttle response in low range is really mellowed out. The throttle map or whatever they've got here, when you get on the gas, nothing happens for a second, and then the engine revs and it stays up even after you've let off. So what you end up with is what a lot of people call throttle overrun. You know, the driver has let off the gas, but the engine is still driving them along. Off-road, if you're driving through some rocks and technical stuff, that might not be what you want. Hopefully that comes across clearly through the video here, but if you're full gas, when you go to 0, that ECU goes 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. At like that speed, watch, full throttle, 0. It's insane. I've never felt a vehicle do it that exaggeratedly before. Gotta say, I kind of get the logic behind it to get that throttle working nice and smoothly over rough terrain as, you know, ham-fisted people are smashing and mashing stuff. But hey, it takes a long time to trail off. Let's keep wheeling and just see what else happens. Steering, no complaints. Off-road steering's great. It's got lots of power steering. You know, you used to hear a lot of times the thumbs out thing. Keep your thumbs out of the wheel because you don't want to break your thumbs. That's an old one from days of no power steering when, sure, if we bumped into a rock or a log, it could spin this wheel out of control and break your thumb. It's still good practice, you know, to keep your thumbs out, but in a vehicle like this, it's really not necessary. It's so smooth. The clutch and the transmission in general, 0 complaints. Everything works really well. Seating position and visibility, again, maybe not your favorite on-road, daily commuting, but off-road, it's a great seating position, it's great visibility. The brakes, you know, using that left foot braking to get through obstacles nice and smooth, or, you know, again, even at idle, if you're in first gear, you can use your right foot and just brake against the resistance of that engine. I don't know what to say about the brakes. They do what they should, no complaints. The locking differentials, you can lock either the rear or the front and the rear. You can get stuck and then lock the differentials. They lock quickly, they don't lag or just flash the button or screw around like some vehicles you get into. Things just kind of, you need to roll the vehicle forward or back sometimes. Not the case in this one. I did have to drive backwards a couple of feet to unlock them, but that's no problem. You're not stuck at that point. The off-road pages in here does what it says on the box. It's actually kind of cool. I'm not usually a fan of a lot of this stuff, but in this case, to be able to see your pitch and roll digitally, great, love it. Hey, we're stuck again. You can hear the solenoid clicking. The other one that's really nice is the steering angle position, which is really nice if you did get, you know, really stuck somehow and you get screwed up. The problem is there's 3 positions where the steering wheel is at 12 o'clock, you know, here and here and here. It's easy enough as a driver to simply do that and know that the one in the middle, and then you go ahead and it's straight, but it's almost quicker if you're stuck in deep snow or the sand or you're thrashing in the mud or something gets ugly. You can just look down and see right where your front tires are pointed. That's easier and quicker. The other thing that's really nice about the off-road pages here is it's a great reminder what side that front differential's on. A lot of people kind of walk around and take stock and, the front differential's off to the side. Which side? They forget. And then when you're here, like, you know, a situation where you've got a rock on one side, you've got to get the vehicle over it, you need to place that front differential where it's got clearance to go through. So just having that little graphic there is a reminder that that front differential is on the driver's side is only a good thing. And the fan. Probably the loudest cooling fan I've ever heard. There it goes. So probably the easiest car review anyone will ever do. Can the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon go off-road? Yes, of course it can. Drawbacks to this vehicle, the long wheelbase, that breakover angle in the middle is going to be a problem if you do really take this thing off-roading. There are many things you could do. You could get the two-door, which is going to be better. You could lift it a little bit. You could put some skid plates underneath, knowing that you're going to bottom out. You've got a ton of options to improve that breakover angle and or protect the vehicle if you know you're going to bottom out. So that's kind of on you as an owner to do. That second thing with the traction control not really being off, you can hear the electronics working, you can feel the electronics working, it says it's off, but it's not. Is that a little nitpicky? Sure. You know, it's only helping you, but if it says it's off, it should be off. The die-hard kind of drivers are gonna want it off. But the third one, and the least obvious, but really the most important, is that throttle response. Maybe there's a workaround for that. Maybe you can get the ECU flashed. Maybe, I don't know. Go online, I'm sure there's somebody's got a solution for that. But the amount of lag that's in the throttle, particularly coming back off it, is the most I've felt in any vehicle ever. You know, we'll do it on flat ground, fourth gear, full throttle, 0. It stays accelerating. It's still accelerating a little bit. Again, my guess is that any drivers that have some actual experience are going to want to get rid of that somehow. So thank you as always for watching. Hopefully you found this, entertaining and a little bit informative. If you have any questions about this Jeep Wrangler JL Unlimited Rubicon, go ahead and ask them in the comment section and we will get to those as quickly as we can. If you're interested in driving videos, high performance driving, off-road driving, more technical driving skills than you find most places, check out our channel. Tons of content on there already and we're pumping it out just as quick as we can. If you'd like to get behind the wheel and do some driving yourself, check out teamoneil.com. We run high performance, rally driving, skid control, off-roading, all different kinds of advanced driving courses up here at our campus in New Hampshire. Until then, be safe, have fun, and we'll catch you next time.
Hey folks!
Bogey! All right, thank you.